Hello everyone, my name is Jane and welcome to Try a Chapter Unhaul edition. So yes, I'm planning to do a big unhaul from all of my bookshelves, also for my TBR, also for my red bookshelf. It's going to take a bit of time because I am going also to organize everything from the start. I just really want to minimize the amount of books that I have, and I am this kind of person who keeps buying a lot of stuff, but I am trying to be more minimalistic and to try and reduce my books as much as I can. Now maybe the video looks a little bit different to you, but I got a new phone after a lot of years with my old one, so the quality of my videos is going to be so much better, and I'm just really excited to finally use my new phone. But yes, basically today I'm going to try a chapter. I always see so many people do it and it looks so much fun, and I do have a lot of books that I know that I want to unhaul, but I feel like most of the books I'm not really sure if you want to unhaul them or not. I have a lot of books that look interesting to me, but I never pick them up, and yes, I'm not sure if there is going to be more videos in this series. I am planning to film my unhaul. It will take time for the actual unhaul to be out because again I have a lot of things to organize, so it will take a little bit of time. But today I'm going to try a chapter from 4 books that I'm really debating if I want to unhaul or not. I am going to read one chapter. If I will feel like I need one more chapter to actually decide if I want to keep it or not, I will read it. But yes, let me show you the 4 books that I'm going to try a chapter from today. 2 of them are actually new release fantasy books. The first one is A Dark and Hollow Star by Ashley Shuttleworth. I have this book a lot of months. I pre-ordered it, so I have it since it was released, and I'm pretty sure that this is a fantasy standalone. But basically this is a fantasy about Fae, and we are supposed to follow, I think, a few Fae teenagers and their story in this town or something like this. I'm not sure. It sounded really interesting to me at first, and the reason that I didn't pick this book up until today, I feel it's because also the length. It's a pretty big book, but I just keep seeing so many mixed reviews about this book. So many people really hate it and so many people really love it. So like I'm really not sure what I'm going to think about this book. And yes, I just feel like I'm less excited about it because it was on my TBR for a lot of time, and just because I'm not sure if I'm actually going to love it or not. And the next fantasy book is The Infinity Courts by Akemi Dawn Bowman. Now this is the first book in a series. I think that the cover for the second book was already released, and it was released a few months ago, and I was really excited about it when I ordered it because it sounded really cool, because the main character of the story dies and then she's going to the afterlife, which is those infinity courts, and it's supposed to be a really unique fantasy story. But I'm actually really debating to unhaul it because since I actually got the physical copy, I don't know why I keep putting this book at the bottom. I always keep it out of my sight. Just something doesn't excite me about it anymore. This is actually the book that I'm most hoping that I won't actually unhaul, and that the first chapter will be actually interesting to me, because I do really wish that this book will be interesting because all the premise of the story really sounds interesting, but I'm not sure, something here doesn't excite me anymore. So hopefully it will change today. And the next book is a romance book. This is a really popular book, They Both Die at the End by Adam Silver. I see this book mostly on Book Talk, and I think that this is one of the books that are on my TBR for the longest. I bought it really in the start when I got back into reading, and I bought it because of the hype. Actually, when I first bought it, I didn't know that this is a romance. It looked to me like a thriller. I'm not sure why. Something in the blue. I just feel like this color really reminds me of thrillers, and just all the covers, something here looked to me like a thriller. And only after I got it, I realized that this is a romance. But the actual idea is cool because this is a dystopian world where people get a message at their last day alive, and they finding out that this is their last day alive. So everyone knows that this is the day they are going to die, so they can do whatever they want before they die. And the 2 main characters of the story are 2 men that are getting this message, and then they are connecting in a Find Friends app or something like this. So this is a male romance. So like the idea sounds really interesting to me, but something here doesn't really excite me anymore. I'm pretty nervous that it will be those kind of romance books that are so character heavy without enough plot for me, because I am a very plot driven reader, and I have a lot of romance books that are mostly character driven that I still really love. But if a book is really character driven, I will likely love it less. I feel like the reason that I didn't pick this up until today is because I think I won't love it, but yes, we will see about it. And the last one is All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. Now this is the translated edition in my native language. I do have this book also on my TBR for a long time, and I really want to pick this book because I heard really good things about it. It's also pretty short. It has 340 pages in my edition, It just feels to me like a really emotional book, but something that I will actually love. But the only thing that makes me really afraid to read it is this is a YA, and I'm really afraid that it will feel too young to me. Because if it will feel like a really young YA to me, I won't enjoy it, like for sure, I just know it. So I feel like I will read the first chapter and I realize what the tone of the story is and realize more what is the target audience for this book. So yes, hopefully it will be good because I heard amazing reviews about this book. Yes, so I'm not sure with what to start. Okay, so I'm thinking we'd start They Both Die at the End. This is a romance story, so I feel like it will be better and easier to start than two fantasy books. I'm not sure. But yes, let's start with this one. Let's see what I think about it. So I just finished reading the first chapter of They Both Die at the End, and I'm really surprised. I think that I'm vibing with this book. So I read the first chapter, and this is a dual POV story, so I didn't read the POV of the second chapter, but the first POV was really interesting to me. You're following an 18-year-old teenager, and when this deathcast calls to him, basically inform him that he's going to die in the next 24 hours, it's actually really sad because he is so young, and I don't know, like something in the writing actually touched me, because this is a sad story. It's about two people that are going to die, and this is their last day alive. So I actually felt this from what I read. Like I felt the regret of him, of all the things that he didn't do. I felt the fear. I felt the hope for him to live more, but he knows that he will just not live more than this day. So it actually pretty touched me. Like I'm really surprised from it. My only problem is that usually the start is the most interesting part to me. I read like a quarter, fourth of the book, and it's really interesting to me, and it just gets less and less interesting. But it actually made me really want to not unhaul it, which is interesting because it was one of the books that I was sure that I'm going to unhaul, but I actually don't really want to unhaul it now. Honestly, I want to keep reading. It was pretty good. Like again, I'm surprised from it. So yes, like I think that I'm actually going to keep it. But let's read the other books and then decide. Yes, I'm not sure which book I want to read now. I think one of the fantasy books. I'm not sure, but I think that I'm going to go with The Dark and Hollow Star. I actually do want to finish it and to unhaul it. So let's see what I actually think about it. It will be interesting if I will actually enjoy it, because I don't really think that I will enjoy it. Maybe I will really am. So yes, let's read. Okay, so I didn't even finish the first chapter. Like technically it was an epilogue, so maybe the first chapter will be more interesting, but I was really bored from the epilogue. Now I actually think that the writing was really good. Like I did enjoy the writing style. We followed some character. Her name was Eleketo, something like this, and she's a fae. I think I actually didn't really understand a lot. From what I got, she wanted revenge from something, and just the whole writing about her emotions and revenge, I wasn't interested in that, and something in the plot that I saw so far wasn't interesting enough for me even to finish the chapter. Like I really don't want to keep reading the 5 pages that I had. Like the chapter was only 15 pages. Even that I didn't want to finish. So yes, obviously I'm going to DNF it. Again, I don't think that the writing is bad. Like the writing style was really nice, really pretty. I just don't think that I'm vibing with it. It was also what I expected to be. So yes, like I'm okay with unhauling it. I'm pretty glad that now I'm sure that I want to unhaul it. So yes, now I think that I will read The Infinity Courts. Just another fantasy. Let's see what I think. I actually really hope to enjoy the first book because the premise sounds so interesting to me. I'm really hoping to vibe with the writing to actually want to pick this up. So yes, let's read this one. Okay, so I read The Infinity Courts. Now I actually read 3 chapters and not 1 because they were short. I read less than 20 pages, exactly 20 pages. So I read 20 pages of the book because I wanted to see more and to realize if I want to keep reading it or not. Now the thing is that I think that the writing is nice, but it isn't special to me. Like it's okay, I don't have anything against the writing, but this isn't those kind of writings that so far I'm really connecting to it. But I feel like the plot itself is actually really interesting. The thing is that we're following a teenager, and this teenager dies, and then she is going to this Infinity Courts, and the 3 chapters that I read was still her in her life. So I didn't really got to the fantasy element of it, but I actually don't really want to get to it because I feel like this is the experience, and I actually need to read the book to get to this, if you understand what I mean. So I'm not sure if I want to unhaul it or not. I feel like I don't feel anything special to the characters or the writing, but the plot sounds really interesting to me. Also, you have a map in the beginning. It's actually really beautiful. You have the different courts or something like this, and the fantasy element, the world building, it sounds really cool to to me, and I am interested to see what is going to be in the world building. I feel like because I read the chapters before she dies and I know what happened and how she died, I am really interested to see what is going to happen after she dies. So it makes me want to pick this book more, and I do think to maybe not unhaul it and like to keep it because of it, because it sounds interesting to me. So yes, I need to think about it. So let's see in the end of the video. And yes, now I'm going to read all the bright places, and yes, let's see if it will feel really young to me or not, because this is my main concern with this book, that it will feel really young to me. So let's see how it will be. So I finished reading the first chapter of All the Bright Places, and I'm actually thinking that I'm going to DNF it. I wasn't sure about this book. I actually thought that this is going to be one of the books that I'm going to keep. I just hear so many good reviews about this book and how emotional it is, but my concern was actually true. Like, it doesn't feel really young YA, but it does feel pretty young to me, and something here just didn't really connect to me. We followed a teenager. This is a dual POV, so we followed only the male teenager, and he has depression, and we basically got to know his character and how he talks and everything, and I really can get why people love his character and the other girl's character and their relationship. Like, so far from what I saw from it, I really can get why people really love this book. I feel like, honestly, if I read it like 5 years ago, 10 years ago when I was really little, I could really love this book. I just feel like this is those kind of books that I just won't enjoy it today. I'm more mature now, and also if I'm reading YA, I do still love YA. Most of my favorite books this year were YA, so it doesn't something about YA. I just feel like there is some kinds of YA that are just really young to you, and I feel like this is those kind of books. It felt to me like I'm reading about teenagers. It wasn't too young, but it still was young enough for me not to want to keep reading it. So yes, I'm actually going to DNF All the Bright Places. So overall, I have 4 books. 2 of them I'm DNFing and 2 not, which is interesting. Like, it's cool that actually the number is even. Definitely my biggest surprise is they both die at the end. It was one of the books that I was sure that I'm going to DNF, and I was really surprised from it. Like, I didn't thought that I would be that interested in the story. Like, out of all the 4 books that I read, it was the most interesting to me. I do feel like it will be mostly character driven, and I'm setting myself for a book without any plot. I'm aware of it, but I still really interested to keep seeing the other character, first of all, because I didn't saw anything from the other character. But the character that I already read about, I really loved his story and his character and personality and how he thinks, and I actually like felt his emotions. So I'm really excited to keep reading it, and hopefully I will actually love the book, not only the start. A Dark and Hollow Star, the only one that I didn't even finish the first chapter, but that's okay. Like, it just isn't for me. It happens, and I'm really glad to unhaul it and just to release it from my library. I feel like it will be a really cool fantasy story if you like those kind of stories. I just don't really love stories about fae, and yes, just it was nice, but not enough for me to even want to finish the first chapter. And yes, the Infinity Courts, it was nice. I didn't felt anything special, like, honestly. I do want to keep it because of the plot. The plot is interesting to me, and in the end, I'm a plot-driven reader. So also, if I won't fully connect to the writing, and I don't think it was bad, like, I can still connect to it in the rest of the story, or if I will be more in the right mood for it. But it was interesting, the plot was interesting, so hopefully it will keep to be interesting. And finally, All the Bright Places, I'm going to DNF it. I didn't expect to DNF it. Like, I thought I'm going to keep it, but apparently not. But that's okay. That's why I did the try chapter thing, so I can actually understand if I want to keep those books or not. So yes, it was really interesting. I really hope that you enjoyed coming with me and reading those first chapters. It was pretty fun. I'm not sure if I will do another episode of this try chapter before the big unhaul, because I'm pretty sure about the rest of the books. We will see about it. I have a lot of books that I'm going to unhaul. So sometime in the near future, you will see an unhaul video, hopefully really soon. And yes, thank you so much for watching this video. Until my next video, you can check more videos by me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye everyone!